fucked it again. God damn it.
Here's 20 minutes more.
Ish. Hello and welcome to 20 minutes more ish. Right at the second try. That's not too bad. Yes, we are here back post show. We've just finished last week's show, as you've been watching. How did we find the show, guys? Did we have fun?
Yeah, it's nice doing comedy again. I mean, it's been like, I think it was September, October I did my last gig, and I've not done a stitch of it since. So.
Oh, really?
No, I have been practicing, but you know, my girlfriend hates me now.
Oh, no, either.
I'm glad you were there, Sam, to be honest.
I'm taking the fall there, quite literally. My sound's really terrible. I think it's me.
Okay.
Does it sound terrible?
It does. You're dropping out and dropping in a little bit. Give it a minute and we'll see.
There she is.
Sam, hello.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. It's just jumping around a little bit. All right. We'll bear with. We'll see how we do. Andy, how did you find it? You enjoy that?
Yeah. I mean, it's the first online gig I've done and the first comedy thing I've done in ages. But you know, they say comedy's like riding a bike because you'll get nowhere fast and strangers shout abuse at you. So it's fine.
That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, that's entertaining. That. Awesome. Well, so welcome then to. For goodness sake! Now my laptop's deciding to open every program that's on there. Excellent. There we go. Right. Cool. Hopefully, I'm lagging a lot.
We didn't want to say anything. We just thought, he's a bit slow.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it suits. Right then. So, that brings us on to then our post-show chat. Did anyone have any technology jokes? We never got round to the technology jokes.
I've got a couple. One or two. One that my friend wrote for me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if he's plucked it from the internet. One that I personally plucked from the internet, and one of my own jokes. So, my own jokes is... stand-up comedy is a lot like sex. Phallic-shaped electrical devices can be used to amplify it.
Excellent.
So I
like
got
that.
one which was, I don't know why there's all this fuss about driverless cars. Why can't we just continue to call them parked cars?
I like that. That's really good.
It's quite clever. I wrote it myself.
Well done.
All I had was that I recently got an electric toothbrush because my acoustic one was too loud and the neighbours were complaining.
That's good.
I might get Oliver one of those.
That's good. That's really good. I really like that.
The one that my friend plucked from the internet, I hope he wrote it. But it says online strip clubs are now featuring laptop dancers.
Excellent. Oh well, those were excellent. I think we did really well. I think I'm going to drop it in future because we're not getting the hits from the audience that I need to keep that as a feature. And also, I just keep running out of time. Like that's like 3 weeks in a row I've not had time, so it's going to get dropped. Sorry, folks, if you like it.
All right. Well,
Season 2 starts immediately next week, so I'm calling it season 2 because I booked one lot and now I'm booking another lot. So season 2 starts next week, folks. Or this week? Good. No, it will be next week for. Oh, fucking! No point advertising next week's show if this is on after it. What am I doing?
I'm glad
what am I doing there?
I'm glad you've dropped it because I've run out of material. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Right,
I've written all the jokes I'll ever write.
Okay, right. So now we're on to our next game, which is a game we like to play in 20 minutes more. Okay, now everybody in the world loves an alternative fact, but here at the 27-minute comedy hour, we love a good alternative opinion. Now, in alternative opinions, I just take a headline from an opinion piece that's been in the week that's been in the news that week, but I remove some of the words and I ask my comedians to suggest what the missing words might be. So our first our alternative opinion for this week is what British politicians won't admit.
They feed on our misery like leeches on blood. It sustains them.
Is it how much taxpayers' money they spend on premium biscuits? Slash porn slash phone lines.
On that line, it could be how often they've been in the Westminster bar during lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After 10 o'clock.
Yeah. In groups of 40 of them, all fucking pigs.
But you know how I think it might be they won't admit that. You know how some people say that everybody's broken a few rules here and there. But like if you're a politician, you can't break a few rules here and there, can you? So they would never admit if they did it. I mean, I would. I haven't as it happens, but I would admit if I did. You know,
well, yeah,
if I say had sex with a stranger, I would just say. But I haven't.
Yeah.
So what's that?
I thought it might be that they inhaled.
Yeah.
Because you always see politicians denying that. Like, no. I smoked some weed, but I didn't inhale. It's like, oh, great, you can't even take drugs properly. Right? How am I going to trust you to run the fucking country if you can't even work a fucking joint? Come on, man.
And it's a bit like, you know, didn't swallow. It's a bit irrelevant. You know, the deed is done.
It's in your mouth. You may as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's what I keep saying.
Yeah. When you've given a hobo a blowjob for a ball of crack down the back of an alley, I mean, whether it's spat or swallowed doesn't really make a difference at that point.
I don't mind. I don't specify.
Anyone got any more?
Is it what British politicians won't admit?
Is that man that you thought was a dog there?
He's definitely a candidate, isn't he?
Yeah. It could happen at any moment, and he wouldn't admit it if it did.
What breed is he?
Do you know what? My husband is a rescue husband, which means no, because when I got him, he was bloody eating whatever he wanted to eat. He was sleeping with whoever he wanted. He was in a terrible state. And now I've rescued him from that. But of course, because he's a rescue, I don't know what breed he is. And I can't have a DNA test to find out, because if I find out he's even a little bit pit bull, I'll have to have him put down. And I don't even know how the central heating works, so that can't happen.
I thought you were going to say you found him in the street and just tempted him inside with a biscuit.
I did do that. Were you there with that man?
Keep him in a cage, don't you?
Yeah. Okay. Has anyone got any more suggestions? Anyone think they know what this might be?
I mean, let's be honest. Things that politicians won't admit to us. Any number of things, couldn't it?
Anything that's true.
The
Earth is round. That's
what. Well, I thought it might have been that Guy Fawkes was right. No, in fact, the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, was what British politicians won't admit to. We need to transform the welfare state. This was an article from John Morris this week, who was suggesting that because of the state of COVID and because of what's happened on the outcry of COVID, that we need to reform the way we live in this country. We need to reform the way we think about welfare and supporting people in this country. What do we reckon, guys? Do we think it's time for a big change?
Well, I was unemployed for quite a long time in my 20s, and it was easy. You would just walk in and sign something and walk out. You get your money. I got through it, and then I decided to get a job when they started making me look for work. So it seemed like a step in the right direction, but they still don't pay him enough, do they? It's not. It's like being on a less than minimum wage.
Yeah, it's like the whole welfare state was invented, I don't know, 80 years ago after the war or something. And you know, not only have they not reformed the system, they haven't actually adjusted the prices.
They've not inflated anything, have they?
2 shillings.
Threepence.
Well, it is. It's been like what, 3.5 years that there's been a total freeze on any benefits increase, which, and the problem is with all of these things, like it's all very well saying, yeah, like we'll stop paying people on benefits as much, but then companies just go, well, we'll stop paying employees as much. Like, you know, people are willing to work for less because benefits is so. Then, like all of the prices at the wages at the bottom end of the market end up dropping, and you end up just with this sort of like fallout of value of work in the working class.
Yeah.
But is that true though? Because like if there's a living wage, then it kind of pegs it upwards instead of pegging it downwards, doesn't it? It's almost like the economics that you describe isn't quite correct. It's that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but the theoretical living wage is nearly £5 above what the actual living wage is, although the current minimum wage is, and that doesn't count to anyone under a particular age. So you don't actually get a living wage until you're 25. So then you end up with lots more people who end up out of work later on in life, not being able to get into any kind of job, because actually it's far more incentivized to employ someone under the age of 25 to go and do that job. So I know what you mean about the theoretical idea of having a living wage in place, but we don't actually have a living wage in place. Like, it was never successfully implemented on the suggestions that were put forward about how to implement it. So it's like, you know, I think it's a rock and a hard place, isn't it? Right? Yeah, because you think that actually, yeah, it's going to be massively responsible. Now, I thought I'd do a little test that I found out about on this. Okay. And ask each of you to think of what percentage it costs the government, or it cost the government in 2018, that we'll go over those figures. What percentage it cost the government for tax avoidance, yeah, in terms of a bill, or sorry, how much money you think tax avoidance cost the government, and how much money you think benefit fraud will have cost the government. So how much money do you think benefit fraud cost the government in the year 2018?
I'm going to say 100 million.
Yeah.
And then probably the cost of tax avoidance, probably something like 3 billion.
Yeah, because I mean, like, benefit fraud, it's like someone trying to get an extra few £100 here and there, whereas the tax avoidance is like, oh yeah, I just bought this like $1 million jet plane and I'm not going to pay tax on it. It's like, that's the kind of money that the people at the bottom don't even dream of. It's just, you know,
it's just another thing politicians won't admit to, isn't it?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is exactly it, isn't it?
Where their money is, probably Monaco.
Yeah. It's like £74 million. No, sorry. Yeah, £74 million is what it costs the government from benefit fraud. Yeah, but we're losing out on £2.7 billion every year. No, sorry, £27 billion. I'm looking at £27 billion every year.
I take it back. He was a factor of 10 out.
So it's such a massive amount that's going out in terms of avoiding tax. So what can we do then to try and level that playing field? What do we reckon? Does anyone see a solution at the end of this?
I mean, one of the things they talk about is doing like a universal basic income that everyone's entitled to. But I just feel like that's never going to get the backing of everyone in Britain, because like getting angry at people on benefits is basically like our national pastime, it seems. You know, like to the point do you remember that show Benefit Street, which they may as well have titled that "Everyone Come and Get Angry at These Scuzzy Poor People." It's just, people just love to rage against people on benefits.
They call that poor porn.
Yeah.
Poverty porn.
Which is the same as not subscribing. It's always a free service.
Okay, then. So basically, right, yeah, here's my thing. Right, I think I have a solution to fixing the political issues that we're facing in this country at the moment. Okay, right, because I think everyone can be agreed that we've got a lot of political issues in the country, and a lot of people are disenfranchised with the political system that we're currently facing. Right, I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of anger out there. And even in the last election, when it was a really big, important election on like Brexit and all of the different issues that were coming up, only 60% of the people came out and voted. Okay, 60% of the people who could come and vote and register and go and vote, only 60% of them did, right? Which I think shows a lot of disenfranchisement with the political system, right? So I've thought of a way, right? Because the biggest problem is the only people whose votes count are the people who get counted in the votes when they actually go and do it. So the government's only actually representing the electorate. So at the moment, they're only representing 60% of the people who can vote in the country. Yeah?
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to make them realize that every vote matters and every single person counts. So we need to get all of those people who usually don't vote, or people who vote because, I'd rather that person get in than that person. Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of us who are out there who vote that way, right? We need to get all of them to come together and send one big message, right? And here is my plan. Draw a dick on your ballot, right? Because then if everyone did it, and they have to count the spoilt votes, right? They have to count the spoilt ballots, right? Yeah? But could you imagine, right? Yeah, if 100% of the electorate turned out at an election, and like 5% of votes were actually cast, and everyone else had just drawn a dick on their ballot, and like just all of like the politicians would come in and go, "I have power," and everyone would just go, "No, you don't. We voted for a dick." Like,
And they go, "Yeah, I am."
yeah.
We'd probably get one as well. I do have a solution for the voting issue, which is that what you need to do is put one of those pictures of all the people running in 4 squares with a smile, a love heart, and a care. Put it on Facebook. See how many love hearts you can get, Boris.
I think like if it was going to be like the dick drawing thing, let's say I wanted to draw Dan's one, I'd need a very big bit of paper. And I don't know. Stretch to that, it's only going to make matters worse.
Well, maybe you could put a special filing in. You could like you could put in like, look, I'm going to need a large paper ballot when I come to do it, and they could reel you out like a big, like one of those big sheets of like paper you can get from Pound Hammer. It's like 100 meters, and he could just like lay it on. You could do a brass rubbing or something.
Yeah,
I was going to say I could just lay it on there. You could draw a line around it, and then. I mean, you need multiple pencils to do it.
Yeah.
Get the shading right.
Well, but you know, like some people are very artistic, and they might choose to put a lot of effort. They might do like a different dick for each person, like Boris with like a little blonde mop of pubes, and like, you know, Keir Starmer just like. My thing about Keir Starmer, he's got like a tiny face on a massive head, so I'd just do like a giant shaft, but with a tiny bell end. Like Keir Starmer. But like, you know, you do different things for each of the politicians, and people could have fun with it, you know. And I think it would make people fall in love with voting again. I think that's the really important thing.
But what about Nicola Sturgeon? What would you do? If you had to draw like a big fat fairy, how would you do it?
Wow, I mean, I'm sure people could be very creative.
That's the trouble. A lot of people don't.
How do you do a very stern looking penis? That's the thing for Nicola Sturgeon, isn't it?
Yeah, it probably is actually.
You could put it at the back of a boat.
You could do like a little penis, but you could like be wrapped in like, you could have like a little kilt around its testicles. Yeah, and have like a little Scotland flag, and just be like, it'd be like spunking independence onto the
over Adrian's wall.
over Adrian's, yeah.
They take our lives, but they'll
Yeah.
never take our semen.
Ah, and the man wins the internet. Well done.
Right, now this is the thing, right? Yeah, I've presented it tonight as a joke, right? But I genuinely think this is a good idea, right? To the point where I'm currently in talks like with a graphic designer who's helping me design a website for it, right? And I'm going to launch this for the next election. So the next election, there is going to be drawadickonyourballot.com, right? I want people to share this. I want people to get behind this. Like we can get like celebrity support. All right, Russell Brand would be all over this kind of shit, right? Like, and everyone I've spoken to, no one has ever given me one real problem with it, why it wouldn't work. Give me one reason.
That you might be in power.
It might be regarded as sexist because there's
I
no-
wouldn't be in power. Like people can draw whatever they want. Like the penis is not the important thing. The important thing is spoiling your ballot, right? Like,
Right, okay.
but because of this, I did manage to get my mum to draw a penis for the first time in her life. Which was quite funny. And then she tried to rub it out before my brother could take a picture of it.
Tried to rub it out.
Yeah.
It's not going to
Genuinely
work.
true.
It's a drawing. Is that-
Yeah. Do love you're the sweetest woman in the world, Mum. Do love you to pieces.
Trying to extract that sweet freedom.
All right then. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that brings us nice and naturally to the end of our proceedings. Thank you so much for joining us on 20 Minutes More-ish. We have been joined by the wonderful Andy Lloyd, Sam Day, and Dan Live. Extra special love to Dan Live, who puts together all the music for our shows, and a big love to Mike Hall, who puts together all of the artwork. Thank you so much for joining us. Adios, amigos.